All right, here are a bunch of simple tips that you can apply to your doubles game. We're going to be using footage from the D1 Men's National Tennis Championship final between Wake Forest and TCU. So on this first video, you're going to see some I formation, a down the line return, and a miss +1. Now, what I want you to recognize is the starting position, the I, is absolutely perfect. He is on the same side that his partner is serving to. A lot of people make the mistake of straddling that center service line, but this is perfect. Now, my one complaint would be that he doesn't need to slide so far to the cross-court return. So when he lands, he is now straddling that ball, and I think he's over-covering the cross-court. And this return right here, honestly, isn't that good. I think he should be able to pick off that ball, and instead, his partner has this awkward +1. So now let's take a look at this done correctly. This is Rajiv Ram, and many of you know I love to brag that he used to, for some reason, want to play doubles with me. Here are a few silly pictures of us when we were younger. But I want you to watch how he plays the I formation in this point right here at 2 years ago's US Open. Now, I know this was a wide serve and not a T serve, but that doesn't really change things that dramatically. Watch how he just pops straight up. He is responsible for the right. We can see that Joe Salisbury is going to his left covering the line, and Rajiv is just popping up, and because he's so close to the net, he's covering all the angles. So if you're in I formation, be offset to the side that you're serving to, and all you really need to do is pop straight up to cover that cross-court return. All right, if you want to kill people in doubles, we got to be able to attack second serve returns. TCU on the far side does this absolutely perfectly. Great return, great volley. So a couple things. The returner takes the ball inside the baseline with a nice short take back. This kind of neutralizes the opponent at the net. He's not really going to poach on something where you're taking a second serve return that early. He hits it cross court. Now watch the returner's partner closing and covering line. He has the line, the returner has the middle, they're giving up an angle. He gets nice and tight to the net. He's ready for this. So it's very, very simple. And then you can see this natural alley right through the middle of the court where there's an easy winner for him to hit cross court. So again, if we go back, it's just taking that second serve return early, communicating to your partner that you're going to be coming in, knowing that the returner will have the middle, the returner's net partner will have the line, and then just knowing where you want to put that easy volley winner. All right, many people think when you poach, you have to move and then hit some incredible volley, but the reality is this is how most points are won when you're poaching. See a good ball right here. The far side TCU player makes a move and we get a miss. And most of the time when you poach, you just force your opponent to miss because they feel pressure from you. So right here, when he's hitting this ball, obviously the player from Wake Forest cannot hit cross court. His partner is in the way. The opponent from TCU realizes this, makes an aggressive move. You can definitely feel that as the baseliner. That makes you go for a little more, whether it's hitting faster, hitting closer to the line. And I don't think he misses this ball unless that TCU player makes that move. More examples of the exact same concept here. Got a nice return. Look at our player from Wake Forest giving up a ton of room. And yes, that's a high backhand, I get it. But if we're looking right here, there's a lot of line available. Our player from Wake is being aggressive, which I absolutely love. Probably a little bit too aggressive, honestly. He's giving up a lot of space, but he's making that player change directions and go down the line. So he has poached, he hasn't hit a volley, but he's won the point by forcing an error. And last example, just to drive this point home, we got a miss return wide. Again, this is a kick serve to an elite player. This guy's backhand, I mean, look at the backhand. Technically, it's so sound, but he can feel the opponent poaching. He knows it has to be good. If he had just returned through the middle, that would be an easy volley. So he goes for a touch more, and we get a wide error just because the player at the net is willing to poach. All right, our opponents are going to miss, but they're not going to miss every time. And this is a perfect example of not only a great poach, but a great finish. Again, look at the starting position. He's center of the box. If you watch my videos, you know this is absolutely crucial to starting a poach. He moves maybe a touch early for me. Still doesn't matter because most people return cross court. He's tight to the net and he has already preset that he's going to angle this volley off the court. He could go through the middle, but that's probably going to return a defensive lob. The point's still going to be in play. If he can execute this beautiful angle, the point is over. So he had that completely planned from the start. I'm going to poach. I'm going to get right to that center net strap, and he knows he's angling this backhand volley. All right, let's take a look at this point where we decide what are some bad times to poach on, or what are some times that might be a little more difficult. That's a great return, and then we have a fadeaway down the line passing shot winner. Now, you can see right here, our Wake Forest guy sees that the opponent is backing up in trouble, and so he decides to poach, which Honestly, at the end of the day, if you're going to poach, I'm pretty much always in favor because people don't poach enough. I would prefer you to poach when your opponent is in neutral. So if this far player from TCU had a very, very short ball, he's probably going to come up and rip the ball down the line. So we're obviously not going to poach on that. But when he's on defense here, his alarms are also going off that he's like, you know what, maybe this Wake Forest guy is going to poaching, and I think it's more likely he's going to lob or go down the line. The other thing is, because he's on defense, if he hits this ball, it's going to be slower, so you actually don't have to move before he hits. You can probably wait to see that slow cross court and pick it off after. So I don't really have a problem that he's poaching right here, but it didn't surprise me with that inside forehand fading away that he felt the need to go down the line. All right, another time we don't want to poach is when the returner is falling towards the line. So if you have a quality serve and you can force the returner to move strongly in one direction, right here we can see the returner is moving left. This return is very likely to go left, which is down the line. So right here, we're staying, but there would be no reason to poach on that ball. And honestly, he should get that as a stay because he knows where that return is going. And just to build on this point, look what happens when you try to return against your body weight. Sure, this doesn't happen every time, but in this situation, the returner is moving hard towards the middle. So he probably wants to go inside out to the ad court. When he tries to hook this ball against his body weight, it's just a more difficult return. So no, that's not going to happen every time, but that is how I would structure plays, is I would have the net player moving in the same direction as the returner and force that returner to try these very, very difficult cross-body returns. All right, you guys know I'm passionate about this one. We are covering angle volleys from our opponent. So you can see some really good scrapping from the Wake Forest players here. And they actually go from defense and they work their way into the net right now, which is awesome. Now the TCU player ends up hitting a good dipper, fine, they lose the point. But when we come back here, you can see this backhand volley. I've told you guys a million times, this volley is likely to go cross court or on a cross court angle, which means the ad court player from Wake Forest needs to cover the angle and the deuce court player needs to cover a little bit more the middle. Now, you can see he doesn't do what I said. He goes down the line, but that's the point. He did the thing we didn't think, and we're still going to be able to get it. So right now, our Wake Forest player gets a great get, and we're in the same exact situation. Look at how the ad court player from Wake is already running for the angle. That is A++ in my book. Now, the ball goes on a cross-court trajectory, but through the middle. And guess who's there? My boy from Wake, because he's a smart player too. So their coverage on those two balls was absolutely perfect. They get a good defensive lob, and yes, they end up losing the point. Fine, they made their opponent hit a really good shot, but they went from defense to offense just because of their coverage. So that's my compliment, but watch what happens when we don't do this. Decent return, forehand volley cross. So right here, once we see that racket, our far side Wake Forest player in the deuce court should be covering that angle now. The returner is probably looking a little bit more through the middle, but this is just easy money. It's the easiest volley for the TCU player to hit. It's cross court. It's exactly predictable. You can see put the head down. We're not even trying for that ball. That would frustrate me so much as a coach because I know that volley is so likely to go there, and I want our opponents to always have to hit the most difficult shot. All right, I labeled this point just a sick point. There are so many good things that we can watch here from everybody. It's just well played by all four players. Coming in here, and then we have a nice little volley down the line. Boom. So number one, we get jammed, and we use the slice lob return, which is not used enough. When people get close to the net and they are poaching effectively, you need to lob to keep them off balance. Now right here, our baseliner is going to rip the ball. Now where should he go? He should go to the net player. He's a sitting duck up there. And I would prefer him to go to the forehand hip because it's much easier to defend with your backhand volley. And what does he do? Perfectly to the forehand hip. Now, if I'm looking at the TCU guy returning it, he's ready for the ball because he's smart and knows the ball should come to him. And so he does an incredible job just surviving that difficult shot. We get a good angle, and now I want you to watch the Wake Forest guys. They're two up, which means they have to cover the line in the middle. And look at how well the line is covered by our Wake Forest player. He's literally sitting in the alley because the angle is so extreme. So he's now ready for what's a pretty good shot from the TCU player. And then he correctly just bunts the ball down the line for a very easy winner. All right, we got a long point here with a lot of lobs and honestly probably too much faking. That's a great lob return, good middle ball. But you can see the net players really aren't picking off any of these first balls, which drives me crazy as a coach. And then we got a guy who gets tagged. So let's start from the beginning. Again, another slice lob return. This is a good middle ball. Now this ball is just not gonna go inside out. I would like the Wake Forest player to be farther to our left, his right. I don't think he's gonna get this ball, but he's not applying enough pressure. Now right here, you can see the TCU partners coming to the net while he's hitting the ground stroke. So if I'm the far side net player, the odds of him going down the line on this ground stroke are so slim because I could just hit his partner, right? His partner's coming in as vulnerable. So this ball is going cross court. So I would have poached if I was the Wake Forest player here. Now we got a guy running in. Again, I just think the ball's going cross court more. So I would have loved this TCU player to make a move for that ball. It's going right through the middle. Look at our Wake guy. He's faking again. He's not poaching enough to fake this much. Nothing's happening. I would have liked to see him just cover the middle. That could have been a forehand volley right there. We get another fake from TCU. He's running away from the ball. Guess what? Goes cross court. So again, way too much faking. But if I was going to take one thing away from this point, it would be right here when someone is hitting a ground stroke and their partner is running to the net. That ground stroke is almost guaranteed to go cross court, which means the Wake Forest player could have poached on this ball right there. All right, you think you have to hit a bunch of amazing shots to hit a winner at this level? Let's look at that volley. You've heard it a million times. Down the middle solves the riddle. But right here, he's back. He has no angle. They're both covering pretty well on the TCU side. So he's just going to take it, hopefully, middle backhand. So they have no angles to come back. And again, it's just this awkward ball that they both don't even move for. So he could have overplayed and tried to go wide. He wasn't trying to hit a winner. He was trying to set himself up for the next ball. But because he's smart, he gets the benefit of the doubt and creates his own luck. And last point, let's check it out. Sometimes you do everything right and just get beat on a good ball. I mean, that is absolutely bonkers how good that is. If we're looking at the far side Wake Forest player, look at how much line he's giving up here. I mean, this is like so early, so much line, and yet the guy goes cross court because guess what? Most people go cross court. Now, this ball right here, I would never in a million years think he could thread the needle from the right side of his partner and also get around the Wake Forest player, and yet that's exactly what he did here. So if we're the Wake players, we go, hey, we took a return early, A+, we got in, we made a move, and they just hit a good shot, and sometimes you lose on good shots. So hopefully you found these tips useful. You can use all these in your game. It doesn't matter your level. And I want you to check out this other video that I have showing some similar and some different concepts that you can use in your doubles game.